We're cooked. I haven't updated the unit analysis in so long. Cookies about it were deleted from my history. I can just use the link in the command. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna have to change a lot in here. What was the last update? Was it Mualani? No, it was on Verissa release. We probably should change the categories because honestly the meta has changed so much that even the criteria for evaluating the meta have changed. We probably remove this one and just have a versatility criteria instead. Was the Neo patch that dry? You'll need 6 streams to cover it completely. Bro, we are finishing this today. How it feels to spread misinformation on the internet. Do I keep noteworthy strengths and weaknesses as an actual category? Let's just say additional notes. We don't really need main and secondary role. We could just have like, maybe we keep actually main role and secondary role. We'll define it a little bit differently though, I think. We need to add all of the units that have been released since Verissa. Animal, we have Aoife, Yehuda, Varka. Hydro, we have Dahlia, Aino, Columbina. Electro, we have Inefa, Flins. Cryo, we have Scafie, Skirk. For Pyro, we have Durin. For Geo, Idlua, Zabai. Might as well include Linnea as well. Wait, was Pyro MC not out before Verissa? Or did I just not include them? Dendro, we have Nefer Lama. So, let's start by defining our criteria. Overall rating of this unit's meta relevance. Why do we consider 5 stars at C0 and 4 stars at C6, even if it's easier to get a 5-star than it is compared? I feel like most of the time that people ask this question, it feels like they're intentionally ignoring reality. You know why. No recent ones. Guess who fucking specifically said newer ones at C? That's rage bait. That's rage bait. That's rage. Meta relevance. Childe, bad plus. Childe Binefa is good, but there is no synergy between Childe and Binefa. The Binefa wheelchair does not call for any more hydro application. Childe isn't doing anything in there because he's not doing damage because he fucking sucks, and his application isn't doing anything. What about Beneo with Zhongli? He doesn't really do anything either. Unless you have C1 Zhongli, you just don't really need more hydro app than what you get from Columbina, unless you're playing triple Geo, but then you can't play Childe if you're playing triple Geo. Versatility for Childe is all in the context of Fearless Stygian. Yeah, this is all context of Fearless Stygian. I kind of like having 3 categories, but I don't know what to call them for versatility. Yeah, maybe just high, medium, low. I would say that Childe's versatility is probably low plus as well, honestly. Main role on fielder for hydro application and damage. Main team. I'd say it's still international. Additional notes. Childe can be used for his very fast on-field hydro to deal with elemental shields, his reliance on being on field and long cooldown, as well as enemies' content being mostly single target, means he often loses out to Xingqiu in this role. Does that mean international is better than Childe Binefa wheelchair? No. Again, you can read literally either of these, and it explains why Binefa wheelchair isn't considered. Exceptions will be made for units whose best team is a wheelchair, but who have no synergy whatsoever with the wheelchair. That's Childe. If you're playing something like Childe, Sucrose, Inefa, Columbina, you'd get better results playing Hazo on Golden True. It is that bad. He can technically also be used for Neuvillette as a 0 field time support that gives normal attack, level, and hydro resonance. Xingqiu, meta relevance, viable. I can't believe I've lived to see the day. Versatility, I'd say high minus. Off-field hydro application. He doesn't really have a main team right now. Additional notes. Xingqiu tends to be the best unit at dealing with elemental shields that require hydro, as his application is the fastest that can be sustained with effectively full uptime while being off field. He also has very fast hits for void shields, or for, I guess, hit count shields. Hit count checks, yeah, void shields, papilla bullshit, stuff like that. His defensive utility is also still quite strong, but modern team cores almost all have the premium support provide that already, so it's in lower demand. Never. So this is the first example of a character that we are not going to assume at C0 or 0. You can get C1 Mona very easily guaranteed, so I don't think there's a point to assume C0 for anything, but we can look at C1, C2, and C4. Meta minus. Well, I don't know, man. Mualani's dog shit without Mona. So, like, I feel like if anything, Mona should be ranked higher than Mualani. And Mona also sees some play in Skirk teams, right? From C0 to C4 or to C6. Stays meta from C1 to C6, but C2 will be assumed. All right. Versatility, I'd say low plus as well. It's not the same type. If anything, it's actually just low. Like, yeah, she can be used in 2 teams, but that's not really what the versatility thing is about, right? It's about how well the unit adjusts to content having some sort of counter to them. And Mona will not have a good time when units have any sort of mechanic that doesn't really fuck with what Mona does. It's really easy for her stuff to just stop working, with her E being so delayed for the energy generation and stuff like that. Mualani, carry, Skirk, carry. Mona's constellations matter less than most think. Her C4 is the only useful one in Skirk teams, but it's easy to waste some of the crit because you get so much already. Mualani likes the C1 and C2, but has a similar issue with her C4. Needs a Hexarai teammate for Mualani, not for Skirk. Off/on field hydro application. Main team nowadays, I guess, would be Nilou Bloom. Additional notes. Every archetype that can use Kokomi either got a direct or indirect upgrade, like Escoffier or Freeze, or the self-damage being significantly reduced for Bloom. Meta relevance for Barbara is also bad. Low. Healing. It's just this fucking same thing, man. Also the same thing, man. Slightly worse. Kokomi. She sure exists. Ayato. Bad or low. Main team. None. Has a relatively versatile kit. And his non-wheelchair teams all perform similarly to one another. His wheelchair teams also perform similarly to one another, though they do perform better than his carry teams. Additional notes: Ayato is still barely hanging on despite his abysmal damage output because many carries don't have the ability to apply their element off field, which makes them synergize much worse with wheelchair archetypes that benefit from their elements. Yelan, I'd go viable plus. Versatility, I'd say mid. Main team, Skirk carry. Relatively low competition for Skirk's last slot allows Yelan to hold on to a place in the meta. I think I'll put her meta minus as one of the many options that aren't too far from one another. I'd say that nowadays Candace is more meta relevant than Kokomi. I think bad plus is fine. Main team, Skirk carry, has reasonable buff for normal attackers, which allows her to be used as an alternative in Skirk teams. She can also be used for Vape or Lakino, but this is 2026. Nilou, I would say viable plus. Versatility, I would say low. I'll change Yelan to viable plus. Main role, fuck, dude, it's Nilou. Like, I don't know, man. Up bountifuling, they bloom right now. Can be used in Nefer teams if you're a fan of doing less damage. Overperforms in AoE due to the nature of Bloom hitting in AoE, but also getting triggered Bloom reactions, I guess. Reactions. But also getting triggered more often in AoE. She should only be considered for Nefer if you have constellations on Nilou. But Nilou constellations are very bad compared to others. Hydro MC. Bad, low, bench warmer, none. They even fixed the Shao Lantern bug that made this character do something in Overworld. All of Neuvillette's teams perform similarly. Neuvillette's ease of use and team versatility doesn't matter in modern endgame content because he struggles reach DPS thresholds and his wheelchairs often clear just as easily, if not more, by replacing him with another support. Anyways, Furina, ugly. Sigewinne, meta relevance, bad. Versatility, low. Main role, that one fall damage gene clear that used Sigewinne's bubble. Sigewinne's hydro application, very underwhelming, and her healing doesn't really matter in modern teams. Her skill buff is also very small. Mualani, meta, main team, Mualani carry. I could include Skirk carry too, but additional notes, Mualani's damage is almost always concentrated in 3 hits per rotation, 3 chomps or 2 chomps plus burst. Minor errors in execution can lead to major DPS loss. The Hexerai buffs significantly improved Mualani's teams because of her very high synergy with Mona and her ability to perform very well with guaranteed teammates. Mona from Selector, Standard, Selector, plus Cons, Sucrose from Witch 4-star, Hexerai 4-star Selector, and Pyro MC. Makes her a very appealing way of getting a meta team with very few Primo Gems invested. She can also use PTDS and scroll in Skirk teams if you want to use her there. Dahlia, viable minus, versatility low, main role, buffs, shields, main team. Skirk carry. Additional notes up to viable or viable plus with C6 up to viable. Dahlia's performance in Skirk teams is difficult to quantify because attack speed can provide larger or smaller DPS increases based on skill. But C6 Dahlia is one of the fairly good consideration or fairly good options for Skirk's Skirk's 4th slot. I know, bad plus. Versatility, mid, off-field hydro application. Main team, lunar carry. Additional notes, at C0, Aino does literally nothing for lunar carry and is just strictly worse than basically every other hydro, provided you're getting Ascendant Gleam without her. The relative lack of synergistic hydro units for lunar teams allows Aino's constellations to make her a fairly decent option for any lunar teams if you have them. Many will still stay away from using her because of the downside. C1 Aino is more meta than any other hydro for lunar carries. Nah, C1 Hydro is kind of a side grade at best generally. ADEM is better than nothing, but the other hydros tend to often have other things than buffing that does a similar amount for your teams. It's only at C6 that she's like better in her fucking intended role than a character like Xingqiu. And even then, I'd rather play Xingqiu so I don't have to deal with Aino's bullshit. Meta relevance will be nod cry, I guess. Meta plus. Versatility, high. Main role. What the hell is going on here? Actually, this emote goes well for... What do we do instead of unstoppable? Applies AoE Hydro. I don't want to change the emotes. I'm too lazy, man. Yeah, that's a good one. Ignores defense. Cooldown. Duration longer than cooldown. Makes anyone clear Stygian. Lunar carry. Additional notes. You know what? I'll put this one here instead. Main role. Off-field damage. Off-field Hydro application. Buffs. Alright, we finished Hydro! Woohoo! That's enough for today, right?